I think it's important that we let everybody here in Austin and everybody and who's thinking about big ideas to make cities work better to know that DC is open for business. And we really are a city that's on the move. 660,000 people. We're attracting young people, about 1,000 new people every month, businesses. And we're really building a thriving tech ecosystem in Washington. So we're here to let everybody know it. We've staked out a corner, and let's just call it Washington, D.C. and Austin. We are, and we're proud to be the nation's capital. We have the White House, we have the Congress, but we also have great neighborhoods and people actually live in DC. And for many years, the federal government has kind of dominated our economy, and it still does. And we're happy to have the federal government. But if you look at the job growth over the last several years, is not in the federal space at all. It's private sector companies. So our economy is diversifying more than it has in decades, and we can thank tech for that. Young people love to live in Washington because of our great quality of life, safe neighborhoods, improving schools, public transportation that allows them to get here to there. And as we grow our tech footprint, we know that really our best days are ahead of us. Well, it's important for us to start early and to look at our girls and what our school system is doing to make sure that we have girls engaged in STEM activities and coding activities so that every part of our system is focused on making sure that girls have the skills that they need to be involved in tech. And that's critically important. We're actually exploring a program now for the summer that's going to go outside of our school system, and so that in the recreation and summer camps that we have a focus on making sure that girls are learning to code, but more than that, they're seeing other women who are also in the field. Children know what's possible when they see what it takes to get there. So those mentorships are very important. We recently announced a partnership with Howard University where we're going to establish a venture capital hub and make space available more cheaply, so that we're also talking to men and women as they are undergraduates about what it'll take to stay and thrive in DC. Well, this is part of, I know, our previous administration's real focus on making sure that the infrastructure in the District of Columbia is substantial. And when we think about tech, we also have to think about our major corridors, our small businesses, and how we're connecting every part of DC to this growing economy. And we expect that an investment in digital DC will do exactly that. So when we think about new programs, we're trying to figure out how we're going to hang them on that digital DC framework, and the partnership with Howard University is one example. We're addressing affordability in DC in a lot of ways, and it is expensive to live here. When you're a hot city that's safe and has all the amenities I described to you earlier, people flock to your city and they drive up the prices. And that's how thriving cities, and even Austin, and the whole time I've been here, people have been talking about housing affordability. But it is important that we look at all the agencies of our government to figure out the economic development tools that will shape the future economy. So we've been pretty good at defining economic development tools for bricks and mortar economic development. Now we need to spend that same energy on figuring out the economic development tools that we need for a tech-based economy. What we've heard from the community is the space issue and how expensive it is to get that startup space. We've made investments in incubators like 1776 in Washington, and we're going to keep on doing that. The other thing that, as I see the role of government is convening thought leaders around these issues to figure out how we're going to have how should I say, a critical mass of companies. How are we going to have the tax and regulatory policies that attract capital and investment? When I look at the cities who are doing great in tech, like Boston and Silicon Valley and Austin, that's because they've been able to also say, we not only have the talent, but you can get money here, and we have to change that story in DC. in trying to build my knowledge of what's going on across the country, I started following Black Girls Code for a while. And then when I was a council member before I came mayor. What I saw was we didn't have a consistent platform, if you will, to talk about how to train our children to get ready for the jobs of the future. And what I also learned is that young people who want to get involved in technology, they don't think about it in the same ways that we think about teaching, reading, writing, and arithmetic. They learn by doing. They learn from games. They learn from all these different experiences. And so what we want to figure out how to do is get coding and other STEM activities in play. So after school activities and mentorship activities in summer camp and in our summer jobs programs. So we are working and we're developing. I had the opportunity to meet recently with the CEO of Xerox, Ursula Burns, and a group of our girls about the types of programs that it will take to attract girls. And what I think we know is to have a consistency in programming, but to also have mentors. That's so important. In DC, we've recently legalized the possession of small amounts of marijuana. We don't have the ability right now to have a tax and regulate system, but obviously it makes sense that if you allow for the legal possession of marijuana, you also allow for the safe procurement of that marijuana. So we're watching it. We legalized medical marijuana some years ago, and we have some experience now with seeing how medical dispensaries work. What's important if you're a person like me and you're responsible for public safety and public health and public schools is that you have rules that make sense so that people who want to do things the right way have the ability to do so. So if you can help me with the Congress, I'm willing to get to work on that. Tell your listeners, call up their congressman and tell them to butt out of DC's business. You know, we've been watching the level of technology involved in being able to track the supply and track how it gets out the door. For us, if that's a system that we put in place, we want to make it easy and safe and easy for us to track the tax revenues and be able to report on them. We just are grateful to have attracted a lot of energy. You know, our team has worked really hard to put on a great event. We were with Steve Case last night, and he knows a thing or two about starting up tech companies. And more than that, his foundation and Revolution are looking to make huge investments in Washington. I was recently in New York City talking to our credit rating agencies who gave us an upgrade. So they think it's good to do business with us, and we just want everybody to know that we're very committed to building the type of ecosystem to make tech work. And you should find Washington a comfortable place to do business.